Welcome to this lecture on respiratory volumes and capacities. Imagine you are holding a large, flexible balloon that you can inflate and deflate. When you are resting, you only puff a little air in and out. But if you run a marathon, you take massive, deep breaths. Your lungs work exactly the same way. Today, we are going to explore how scientists and doctors measure the specific amounts of air moving in and out of your body. These measurements give us a perfect window into how healthy and efficient our lungs truly are. Let us dive in. Now that we understand the basic idea of lung expansion, let us look at the 4 fundamental respiratory volumes. Think of these as the basic, non-overlapping building blocks of air in our lungs. First is tidal volume, the small amount of air you breathe in and out while completely relaxed. Next are the reserve volumes. Inspiratory reserve volume is the extra air you can forcefully suck in, and expiratory reserve volume is the extra air you can forcefully push out. Finally, we have the residual volume. This is the stubborn air that remains trapped inside your lungs no matter how hard you exhale. It is incredibly important because it keeps your tiny lung sacs, the alveoli, from collapsing like a wet plastic bag. Having defined these 4 basic volumes, you might be wondering why we need to measure them in the first place. In the real world, these measurements are absolutely critical for diagnosing respiratory diseases. When a patient visits a pulmonologist, they breathe into a machine called a spirometer, which graphs out these exact volumes. If a patient has an obstructive disease like asthma, their airways narrow. This makes it very hard to push air out, drastically increasing their trapped residual air. On the other hand, restrictive diseases like pulmonary fibrosis make the lungs stiff like old leather, preventing them from expanding normally. By looking at which specific volumes are abnormal, doctors can pinpoint exactly what is going wrong mechanically. Now that we know why individual volumes matter, we can combine them to calculate respiratory capacities. A capacity is simply the mathematical sum of 2 or more of the basic respiratory volumes we just discussed. Think of the basic volumes as individual puzzle pieces, and capacities as the larger pictures you create when you snap those pieces together. Doctors use capacities because they represent the true functional limits of the lungs during different activities, such as the absolute maximum amount of air you can possibly move in a single breath. Let us look at the mathematical formulas for these capacities, building them step by step from our basic volumes. Building on the idea of combining volumes, our first formula is for inspiratory capacity. Conceptually, this represents the total amount of air you can possibly inhale starting from a normal resting exhalation. The formula is IC equals TV plus IRV. Here, IC stands for inspiratory capacity. TV is your tidal volume, or normal breath. IRV is your inspiratory reserve volume, the extra forced breath on top of it. All are measured in milliliters. If your inspiratory reserve volume decreases due to muscle weakness, your overall inspiratory capacity will also decrease. This means you will not be able to take a deep breath when you need to sigh or yawn. Moving to the lower half of our lungs, we have the functional residual capacity. This formula mathematically represents the resting baseline of your lungs. It shows the air that is just sitting there, waiting to participate in gas exchange while you pause before your next breath. The formula is FRC equals ERV plus RV. FRC is the functional residual capacity. ERV is the expiratory reserve volume, and RV is the residual volume. If a patient has emphysema, their lungs lose elasticity and cannot push air out effectively. This causes both the residual volume and the functional residual capacity to increase significantly, trapping stale air inside the chest. Next, we look at the most important indicator of voluntary breathing strength, vital capacity. This is the absolute maximum amount of air you can exhale after taking the deepest breath possible. The formula is VC equals TV plus IRV plus ERV. VC stands for vital capacity. It is the sum of your tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, and expiratory reserve volume. Notice that the residual volume is not included here because vital capacity only measures the air you can actually move voluntarily. A higher vital capacity indicates excellent lung flexibility and respiratory muscle strength. Doctors closely monitor this value because a dropping vital capacity is often the first sign of respiratory failure. Finally, we reach the absolute maximum architectural limit of the chest cavity, total lung capacity. This formula gives doctors a comprehensive snapshot of the overall physical size of the patient's functional lungs. The formula is TLC equals VC plus RV. TLC stands for total lung capacity. It is calculated by adding your vital capacity, which is all the air you can move, to your residual volume, which is the air you cannot move. If any single volume in the lungs increases or decreases, it will directly impact the total lung capacity. This represents the absolute maximum volume of air your lungs can hold when they are completely inflated. Before we move on, let us see this with a concrete example. Imagine a healthy adult male patient completes a spirometry test. We are given his tidal volume as 500, inspiratory reserve volume as 3000, expiratory reserve volume as 1100, and residual volume as 1200 milliliters. We need to calculate his vital capacity and total lung capacity. First, we find the vital capacity by adding the three movable volumes together. 500 plus 3000 plus 1100 gives us 4600 milliliters. Now that we have the vital capacity, we find the total lung capacity by adding the trapped residual volume of 1200 to it. The final answer is 5800 milliliters. Physically, this means his lungs hold exactly 5800 milliliters of air when fully stretched. Now that we have successfully used these formulas on a healthy patient, let us look at a more complex, real-world clinical scenario involving severe asthma. Asthma is an obstructive disease that causes the airways to narrow, trapping excess air inside the lungs. Imagine a female patient undergoes testing. Because of her asthma, her residual volume has ballooned up significantly. In this situation, the clinic machine might only give us her total lung capacity and her trapped residual volume. We are not given the individual small volumes like we were in the first example. To understand how much air she can actually breathe in and out, we must use algebraic manipulation to solve for her unknown vital capacity. To solve our patient's problem, we need to rearrange our equations. This chunk of our derivation is setting out to isolate the variable we actually care about. We start with our standard foundational formula. Total lung capacity equals vital capacity plus residual volume. In our clinical scenario, we know the total air and the trapped air, but the usable air, the vital capacity, is our unknown variable. To isolate the vital capacity, we need to perform a simple algebraic step. We subtract the residual volume from both sides of the equation. This mathematical reasoning allows us to strip away the trapped air from the total, leaving only the dynamic, functional portion of her breathing apparatus. Continuing from our previous step, we now finalize our derivation. By canceling out the residual volume on the right side, we are left with total lung capacity minus residual volume equals vital capacity. We simply flip the equation around for clarity, giving us our final result. Vital capacity equals total lung capacity minus residual volume. The intuition behind why this works is beautifully simple. In plain English, if you take all the air the lungs can hold and subtract the air that is stuck inside, you get the exact amount of air that the patient can actually use. By isolating the variable we want, the arithmetic becomes incredibly straightforward for our clinical calculation. Now that we have derived our new formula, let us apply it to our asthma patient. We are given her total lung capacity as 6,000 milliliters and her ballooned residual volume as 2,500 milliliters. We are asked to find her usable vital capacity. We chose our newly rearranged formula because it directly links the total air to the trapped air. We substitute 6,000 for the total and 2,500 for the residual volume. Subtracting these gives us a final answer of 3,500 milliliters. Physically, this means her usable vital capacity is significantly reduced. Even though her lungs hold more total air than normal, a massive portion is trapped, perfectly explaining why she feels short of breath. To visually reinforce what we have just learned and proven, let us look at a spirogram. This diagram plots lung volume in milliliters on the vertical axis against time on the horizontal axis. The continuous blue line represents the air moving in and out of the lungs. Notice the small, regular waves in the middle? That is your tidal volume during quiet breathing. The massive spike upward is the inspiratory reserve volume, and the deep trough downward is the expiratory reserve volume. The area at the very bottom, which the wave never touches, is the trapped residual volume. The brackets on the right beautifully show how these individual volumes stack together to form the larger capacities, like vital capacity and total lung capacity. We have covered the full topic of respiratory volumes and capacities, so let us summarize our key takeaways. First, remember that the 4 basic volumes give us the raw data of how much air is moving or staying still in the lungs. Second, respiratory capacities combine these volumes to show us the true functional limits of the respiratory system. Third, the total lung capacity represents the absolute maximum architectural limit of the chest, combining usable vital capacity with trapped residual volume. Finally, understanding these measurements is crucial in the real world, as it allows doctors to diagnose complex breathing disorders like asthma, where trapped air steals usable space. You now have a solid foundation in respiratory mechanics.